Welcome to the name game. Workout number 82 is walk it out. For time with the 10-minute cap. 5 Parallette handstand push-ups, 50 foot sandbag carry, 50 heavy double unders. 10 Parallette handstand push-ups, 100 foot sandbag carry, 50 heavy double unders. 15 Parallette handstand push-ups, 150 foot sandbag carry, 50 heavy double unders. The handstand push-ups are going to be to a 12-inch deficit for males and 8-inch deficit for females, and sandbag will be 150 pounds for males and 100 pounds for females. Let's get into standards. For the handstand push-up, you just need to measure where your hands are to where the top of the pad is. So that's where you need to measure that 8 inches or 12 inches. For the sandbag carry, we're going to be doing lengths of 25 feet. So you need to have a turnaround each 25 feet. So since it's 50, 100, and 150 feet, it'll be 2, 4, and 6 lengths of 25 feet each. Again, as you go past that line on the 25 foot mark, you have to make sure both feet are beyond that line and no part of your foot is touching that line before you turn around and come back. And then we'll talk about equipment subs for heavy double unders. So let's loop in Coach Chris and we'll talk about strategy.
So first impressions is that it's shoulder heavy. You have a high skill gymnastics pressing movement with Parallette handstand push-ups. Sandbag carry is not too long, especially in the beginning. Upper body push combined with some sort of like an upper body pull in the sense that your posterior is working there. Yeah. And then you have heavy double unders. So ideally there, guys, you use a Zeus double under where the rope itself is heavy. But if you don't have that, you could use a drag rope and get roughly the same stimulus there. I know that that piece of equipment is something that not everyone has. And so if you do not have one of those jump ropes, we're going to do a standard jump rope and just double the double under reps. But
Chris, that seems like a lot to go from 50 to 100 for regular double unders.
You would think. However, heavy rope dubs and drag rope dubs are significantly harder, especially on your forearms. And then we were talking about before the call, your shoulders, right? Because you get a little bit of that pullback and external rotation on the shoulders. And we were talking about how, to use us specifically, which might not be the same for everyone, but we're not elite level CrossFitters. So if it was a standard jump rope, right, and it was 3 sets of 100, I'm doing all those unbroken. Like the only way I'm not going unbroken is if I mess up and trip. There's no like self-imposed breaks.
Yeah.
Whereas with 3 sets of 50 heavy Zeus or drags, and heading into an ascending rep scheme of Parallette handstand push-ups, I'm probably putting a set break in those double unders.
Yeah. And if not, you will be forced to because you will trip.
Right, exactly. And because it's one of those things where, the Parallette handstand push-up, just by switching your hands and holding something narrow, can get really tricep dominant and really kind of blow up your upper body.
Mm-hmm.
And having to go from the double unders into that can be tough. And then, like I said, having an ascending rep scheme is only going to make things harder. So if you're someone who has really, really good upper body pressing strength and those deficits are not going to be a problem, maybe you go unbroken in the first set since the rep scheme is so small. And then even if you're super good, you're probably going to have to break up the following schemes. If you're someone like me, I'm going to probably break it up from the jump.
Yeah. I mean, like a 5-8 second shake out of the arms to not fail a rep is so valuable. And especially when you're going to have a lot of fatigue from the grip fatigue, upper back fatigue from the carry. Plus again, just posterior shoulder as a whole and tricep as you go into the heavy dubs. It's a lot. So if someone isn't going to be able to do that RX deficit, or it would be like singles and it would really drag the workout out where it doesn't turn into a metcon anymore. It's just like a strength piece almost.
Sure.
How should you think about scaling that back?
So looking at this workout, like I said, you might have to break up the last set into, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 sets. But like you said, if you're having to do singles and doubles from the beginning, then the deficit's too big and the skill is too hard. So first scaling option, I would say, try to stay with the Parallettes simply because, we do a lot of handstand push-ups with flat palms. And so it kind of gives you that it's a different movement, right? And so even if you have to do it and set it up so, your deficit's like 3 inches.
Yeah. A simple way to do that would just be putting dumbbells on the floor.
That's it.
Yeah. So literally just put dumbbells that are parallel to each other. They're naturally going to be, depending on the weight of the dumbbell, like maybe 2-3 inches off the ground. And that might be enough, right? Like set those onto like a gymnastics pad where it's, again, there's not like an ab mat in between. And that's going to be a pretty good deficit. If you want an ab mat in between, again, for everybody, you're going to be measuring from wherever your hands are, the top of the parallettes, to the pad, wherever your head's actually touching as the deficit. So if that's the case where you want to use an ab mat, then just elevate them on those dumbbells on some bumper plates to a deficit that you think that you can hit triples on a short rest or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you can't do any of that, or you don't have access to parallettes, or, maybe, I don't know, you don't have great hex dumbbells, and so that they're just going to be flying out from underneath you.
Round dumbbells.
Yeah. That would not be good either. So if you don't have access to that, then obviously the next step would be to stack plates for a regular deficit. And then if you can't do that, just do regular handstand push-ups. So that's kind of the scaling progression I would follow, and trying to find, like we said, the hardest skill that you can do and not be totally log jammed at that point.
Agreed. What are we thinking for people who have pretty good press endurance and they're able to hit maybe, again, each of these in maybe 2 sets, 3 sets, 5 sets, let's say, for the parallel handstand push-up? What are we thinking time domain, what this might take?
I mean, if you're really moving well, 5 reps, let's say you were to do that unbroken, you're looking at, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, pick up the sandbag, 50-foot handstand, 50-foot walk.
You're done by the 30-second mark.
Yep, 30-second mark, heavy dubs, done by a minute, maybe a minute 15. You kind of extrapolate that out. I think if you're really good upper body pressing, you could be around the 7-minute mark, maybe 6.
Yep.
But
most people are getting capped.
Yeah, most people are going to push up against the cap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, like, anytime you get a big chunk of gymnastics, it's like there's going to be some people who are just really good at it. That's like their thing. They're going to be able to rip these big unbroken sets and just be able to get it done like exponentially quicker than most people. And then there's everybody else who's like forced to chip away at it. And, again, kind of handed the breaks that they are on the dubs, forced to break up the handstand push-up more than they want to. And all of a sudden you're at the cap. And you're like, well, where did those last 4 minutes go?
And that's the thing with the reason why the cap is in there is specifically with the parallel handstand push-ups, just like similar to a strict handstand push-up, that's a movement that could just go away. It's like next thing you know, it's like, all right, well, I might be here till tomorrow. And so it's almost, to prevent that from happening, you kind of, push people to, all right, let me test my skill here. Let's put the cap in, but don't rely on the cap. Like, continue to chip away at the reps and don't just give up. But that's why the cap's there. Otherwise, you could have someone say, all right, I'm going to do this. They're breezing through the first half. Next thing you know, you hit the 15 and it's like, all right, well, I might be at the 15 for 10 minutes.
Yep.
So yeah.
Makes sense.
Let's get after it.
And lastly, we encourage as many people as possible to jump in with you and do these workouts. We've got people who want to throw down with you. By all means, encourage them to do that. However, we want everyone to submit their scores, right? So where you're going to go to is dwarffitness.com. You'll hit on menu, drop down from the protocol. You'll hit that tab called name game. And then you'll go down to the first workout, which should be the newest one. And you're going to click that little green arrow. There you'll be able to enter your name also with the workout name. That's important because it tags it so it doesn't get lost in the forum later on. But then you're going to put your score or your time, and then you'll submit it. If you click on that little number next to it, you're going to see all the other comments, right? You might actually not be able to view them all. So if you hit view all comments, that's going to take you down sort of a leaderboard where you get to compare scores. And then also your coach gets to help determine where you stack up versus other competitors to be able to determine your individual weaknesses. It's going to be super helpful for us, pretty exciting and engaging for you guys. And if you're someone who's watching this, you're not a Dwarf Fitness athlete yet, I'll link to it below, but you can either check out the protocol or one-on-one coaching and we'll reach out, see if you're a good fit. And for everyone, best of luck on the workout.